right? Good. Let us say now I have other problem also. We'll see how to solve this problem. Before going to the actual part is arrays. I want to write a program which calculates average marks of students whose marks are more than the class average. More than the class average. సో ఈ ప్రాబ్లం అంటే ప్రీవియస్ ప్రాబ్లంలో మనం ఏం చేసాం ప్రీవియస్గా వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ప్రాబ్లం వీ హ్యావ్ డన్ we calculate the sum and average of all the students and we have displayed each student. Let us say m1 is the marks of first student అయితే కనుక ఆ student how many marks is greater than or less than the average. Now my task is I need to calculate the average of the students whose marks are more than the class average. And first we need to find out the average of, let us say if we take the same example as m1, let us say same example తీసుకుందాం. m1 is 70, m2 is 80, m3 is 90, m4 is 40 and m5 is 50. అదే కదా ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకున్నాం దట్ మనం. సో ఇఫ్ ఐ టేక్ ద సేమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, what is the average మనకి ఏమొచ్చింది previous గా average we have got 66 as sum is equal to 330 అంత వచ్చింది if I remember well. 330 is the sum and average. Now in this program I need to calculate the average marks of the students whose marks are more than, and I need to calculate the average of 66 because 66 is average. I need to calculate the average of 70, 80 and 90. Only these three I need to take it into account and then I need to calculate the average. So how to write the program? Okay, we'll see. First we'll calculate the average and then we'll calculate the actual average of the students who are more than, how to write the program. So I need to declare int m1. And now I need not read the values. I'll assign the values in this case, but while writing the program we need to read from the user. m4 is equal to 40, m5 is equal to 50 if that is the case. So I need to declare average and sum and capital AVG. Capital AVG is the average and capital sum is the sum of this program what we are supposed to calculate. So AVG is equal to m1. Small AVG is nothing but we are calculating these variables. First we need to calculate the sum, then only we can calculate the average, right? So first I'll write sum is equal to m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4 plus m5 and average is equal to sum by AVG. Sum by because I have taken 5 values, sum by 5. So now what we are supposed to do, we need to calculate the big average and big sum. So if m1 is greater than small AVG, then what I am supposed to do, I need to calculate the capital sum. Sum is equivalent to, initialize the sum as 0, sum is equal to sum plus m1, and along with this I need to increment the counter. I need to declare one variable. How many values I have, I need to declare the variable a counter which is initialized to 0. So here I'll increment the counter C++1. Why? Because We need to calculate the average of the students who got more than the class average. So అందుకోసమని if the marks is greater than the average, then I am incrementing the value of the C. Similarly, I need to check for all the conditions. If M2 is greater than average, whatever may be the case, for all the 5 sub marks, I need to calculate the sum. Sum is equivalent to sum plus M2. Similarly, if this is true, I need to increment C++. Similarly, if M3 is greater than small average, I'll write sum is equivalent to sum plus M3 and C++. Similarly, I need to check M4 is greater than average. I need to write sum is equivalent to sum plus M4 and C++. C++. Similarly, if I need to check the last marks also, sum is equivalent to sum plus M5 and C++. So at the end of checking all the values, what we are supposed to do now, I need to calculate the average. What is average? Average is sum by C value, not C++, sum by C. So here what we are doing, we are first calculating the average of the students marks. Once we calculate the average, we are checking each and every one of the marks. M1 we are checking greater than average or not. Even you can check for equal to also. If it is you want to check, you can check for equal to also. M3 equal to greater than or equal to or average. M4 is greater than or equal to average. It's up to the condition how we will take. So once it is done, we need to calculate this. So if the number of variables, if here we have taken only 5 values, right? M1, M2, M3, M4. Let us say instead of 5, if I want to calculate for 100 students. So first the problem is I need to assign all the values, or I need to declare and get the values for all the 100 variables. First I need to calculate the average, and I need to check for each and every element. I need to check whether the average is, so marks is greater than average or not. Then only I can check for the count రావడం కోసం I need to check each and every value. ఇంకొకలా ఎలా రాయొచ్చు, even I can also write it as just like int, only will take one value and I'll write one I. As previously we have done single variable, I have taken all the marks and sum చేసాం కదా, అలాగా I need to declare 2 variables and also a counter, and for calculating the average, small sum, small average, and capital sum and capital average, which are supposed to calculate. And for reading the values, what we are supposed to do, we'll write for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. Every time read the values of the marks. Let us say percentage d ampersand of m, read the first student marks and add the marks to sum. Sum is equal to initialize to 0, sum is equal to sum plus I, and after reading everything, what is the average? Average is equal to, if I want to not specifically to 10, I can change it to n, where read the value of n also. Read the value of n. Let us say I have declared n is equal to 100 or n is equal to 10. For this case, we will take only n is equal to 10 and then we'll increase to n is equal to 100. So average is equal to what I am supposed to do? Average is equal to sum by n, because n has declared. So I've got the average here. Now what we are supposed to do? my target, what is my target? I need to calculate whose marks are more than the class average. So here I've got this is class average, right? This is class average. Now I need to find out the average of the students whose marks are more than that. So what we are supposed to do, I need to write one more loop for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. So here, because I have not stored all the marks, what I am supposed to do, I need to read all the marks again. Yes or no? Because I have not stored any value, I have stored in only one place. I need to read all the marks again into m, and if what I am supposed to do, if m is greater than or equal to the average which we have calculated, then I need to add that sum. Here also I need to initialize to 0, add that marks to capital sum, and here I need to increment the counter. Here I need to repeat from I is equal to 1 to I less than or equal to n. Every time I need to check first marks greater than or not. If it is greater, add the marks to the sum and then increment the counter like this. So at the end of this loop, so I have got sum is the students who have more than the average and C is the number of students. Now I'll write capital AVG is equivalent to capital SUM by C. So what is happening here? Here we are reading, this loop is to read the marks to calculate the class average, and this loop is used to calculate the students who got more than the class average. So రెండు చోట్ల ఏమవుతుంది, here also, here we are reading all the 10 అయితే 10 student mark read చేస్తున్నాం. If it is 100, we are reading all the 100 student marks. If it is 1000, all the 1000 student marks into m, and we are calculating the sum and the class average. Again, for calculating the students who got more than the class average, again we are reading the same thing. All the 10 students అయితే 10 students, 100 అయితే 100, 1000 అయితే 1000, we are reading. Though we minimize the memory, we are getting into a problem wherein we need to enter the data many number of times. Though the data is same, we are asking the user to enter many number of times. So to avoid this, that means if I want to use the data, like whatever the data entered by the user, if it is more, if I want to use it many number of times, or if the data is huge in size, this way of solving the problems is very difficult. So to overcome these things, so what is the problems we have faced? If the data is more, like if the number of variables, if I want to read the more number of variables, and if I want to use the data again and again, we are facing little difficult.